Mr. Ron Robinson. Come on up and tell us why we should vote for you in the primary.
Oh, he's going to preach. Thank you, Jane. That was very good. My name is Ron Robinson, and during my career, I've had the opportunity of living here in Macon County in Franklin over at Mill Creek. And during that time, I worked with folks who had mental disabilities. And my work was expanding the western counties for helping folks with mental health issues. And during that time, I got to know people from Macon all the way over to Hanging Dog and helping folks in need. It was a pleasure of my life. After that, a consulting firm heard about me, and I went back to work doing consulting work, which is something I've done for most of my life, working with organizations and helping them become more successful. And doing that, I've also worked in the area of mental health, but also working with healthcare organizations as well, and also with businesses, which is why I'm running for office. I, too, want to end Jim Davis's tenure. I want to scrap Jim Davis. As a matter of fact, folks, I have bumper stickers that say scrap Jim Davis. And end Jim's tenure for the teachers. So I want to honor everybody tonight. Somebody once said that we needed to have a bumper sticker that said, "Get Jim out of the gynecology office." So respect our teachers and respect our women. One of the things that's important to me is something that I have learned from several years ago. I went back to my hometown, Tazewell, Virginia. That's where I was born and raised. It's in the Appalachian Mountains, about 2 ridges over as the crow flies. And in Tazewell, most of the stores had been boarded up. And when I decided to run for office, I decided I did not want that happening here. Not in Franklin, not in Robbinsville, where Stanley's just gone under, not in any town in any county in western North Carolina. And that's why I'm running for office. We need to have good paying jobs back in western North Carolina. And that's why I'm running for office. Now let me talk to you a little bit about how I see that working. Much as Jane has talked about, it's a matter of having 3 pillars. 3 pillars to our communities, much like the 3 legs of a stool. Any of you all ever had a 3-legged stool in your homes? Show of hands if you have. Anybody who's had one knows how stable a 3-legged stool can be. Well, it's the same thing if we're going to bring prosperity back to western North Carolina. The first part of that stool, the first leg of the stool, has to do with our school system. The second has to do with the way we bring jobs back and the way we build infrastructure in our communities. And the third has to do with health care. And when everybody has access to health care, they've got a job that pays the bills, and they also have schools that educate them for those jobs, you have prosperity back in western North Carolina. That's also how we built a great state once before and how we can build a great state once again. Now, I have mentioned to you I'm running against Jim Davis. Let me tell you who I'm running for. I'm running for the teachers in Franklin. I'm running for the teachers in Macon County who've had their salaries cut. I'm for the cafeteria workers and the school bus drivers in our schools who haven't had a salary increase in years, just like the teachers. I'm for the principals who are having to work with their teachers and provide supplies that they don't have, and I'm here for the schools that have had their supply budgets cut in half and haven't had textbooks in their classes for years. And I'm for the teachers who are having to teach the core curriculum without textbooks. Can you imagine anything more insane than that? No. That's why I'm running for office. I told the principal not long ago that if business was run like the schools are being run, businesses would be out of business. And he agreed. We're treating our schools like no one would treat any other organization that I've ever seen, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Now, if we're for schools, let's talk about jobs. And let's talk about what I'm for when it comes to jobs. I'm for every person who's been laid off at Stanley. I'm for every person who's been laid off and is not able to get unemployment now, and who's not able to get food stamps now. It's wrong, it's immoral, and we need to do something about it. And I'm for the small business owner that's struggling because of the tax situation right now. They're being taxed more while multinationals are getting the breaks. Art Pope, by the way, is also getting those breaks. It's wrong, it's not right when we have small businesses trying to employ people, yet being abused with taxes that they have to pay now in order to give rich people a break. It's not right. And I'm for the people who are suffering right now, like the farmer who fell off his barn roof and is now a cripple. He's a cripple because he didn't have health insurance. And he didn't want to be a burden to his family by going to the hospital with all those bills. And I'm for the young lady who graduated from community college with a degree, worked 60 hours a week in a minimum wage job, and has cancer. She lives here in Macon County. She comes back to HHS here, PSS I should say. And when they tell her that she's too poor to get health insurance, she calls Jim Davis, and you know what Jim Davis says? Make more money. Make more money. That's the kind of representation that we have. I have a dream. I believe that we can have a better day in Western North Carolina. And I believe that that day is a day in which we have businesses coming here knocking down our doors because we have some of the best schools in the world. And those schools are set up to not only send kids to college where they can graduate debt-free, but also vocational programs for kids that like to work with their hands. And they can go straight into businesses and school and work right out of high school. They're doing that in Pisgah High School right now. We can do it in all the schools. And I believe that by having the kind of environment here where we can have jobs and have education, we can bring prosperity back to Western North Carolina. That's why I'm running for office. So I'm asking you to consider someone who understands how business works, who understands the needs of health care, particularly the areas of mental health, that has worked in all of those. Because I believe that every person matters. Every one of you matters. Every person matters in Western North Carolina. And I believe that if you support me and send me to Raleigh, you'll have somebody who can stand up for you and stand up for that farmer and stand up for everybody else in Western North Carolina and represent you and bring prosperity back to Western North Carolina through strong schools, through recruiting companies that pay the bills and pay women the same as men, and through ensuring that we have health care for everybody. But that also means that we do some things with HHS. The last client I had was a small doctor's office, and she's struggling right now because HHS's software system is not paying her bills. And she's having a hard time making payroll because of that. So we not only have the challenge of having people have access to health care, we're having challenges with our providers getting paid once they provide the health care. We need to have support for our providers, much like we have support for the people who need the health care from the beginning. So in summary, let me just say this. In business, I can talk to the people across the aisle in Raleigh. They're business people, they understand business language. And I believe I'm best suited to reach across the aisle and talk to them about the business case for making our schools strong rather than trying to privatize them. And I believe that I'm best suited to debate Jim Davis and beat Jim Davis in the general election because I've been with Jim. I have sat in his office with him and we have debated the issues. And I fully believe that Jim Davis believes what he's saying. As outrageous as what he's saying, he actually believes what he's saying. But part of my work, for a while I was a substitute teacher and I taught language arts skills. Part of that was debate skills. And I've also worked with candidates, helping them with debate skills. And I believe that if you put me up against Jim Davis, we can have a fine debate that I can win and represent the Democrats in Macon County in going to Raleigh. So I ask you for your consideration, and I ask you for your vote on April 24th.